Welcome to the meta episode 51. We are here to look at a very interesting match, a home one versus Executor, and not the triple attacker, no Houndstooth starting. Um, Here in Kyber Lab, like always, we're looking at maxing banners, avoiding mistakes, and removing RNG. So let's take a look at this fight. The goal here is 66 plus banners. It does require high relics. Your rebel pilots need to be within 1 or 2 at most relic levels of the Executor fleet pilots. 60 mods everywhere, of course. Biston has to move first. This is really always going to happen if you're meeting the relic level requirements. How do you start? You focus down IG2,000. That's key. Your tank will usually die. Heal, stall, sort of. It's not very hard to remove taunt. The challenging part is just the breach, but that's pretty manageable if your tank dies, or even if your tank doesn't die. Usually they have 3 debuffs and they'll automatically cleanse thanks to Hans, Millennium Falcon. First reinforcement changes a bit depending on what the board's looking like. RNG, this is not 100% counter or anything close to it. I would say it's probably around 70 to 80%. The higher the rev levels of your pilots, the higher the range that's going to be. You can't undergear the fight, and you have to play correctly. Sometimes that correctly is a bit of a gamble, but not really that much if you look at turn meter. So let's take a look at the fight here. This is by Grumpy Old Men Gaming. This has got a nice channel. Does some good GAC content. So you always start with piston targeting IG2000. You can wiggle or not wiggle. Doesn't make a huge difference. Generally, it's better just to straight off basic. Here, you're always going to trigger Houndstooth. There's an alternative way where you target Houndstooth first and hope for assists and TN gain, so you can do a mass swarm on IG2000. That is requires your home one to be faster than IG2000, or that you get some TM given to him. But it has a bit higher success rate. Anyway, this way is also fine. It's a bit more reliable at different gear levels. I personally prefer Biston. I prefer Biggs X-Wing in this spot rather than Rebel Y-Wing, but it depends on your relic levels and stuff. So here's the 3 debuffs that'll automatically go away, which is great. However, he usually dies here. So as you know, they can ignore taunt on pilotless ships. So Rebel Y-Wing is a pilotless ship, so taunt doesn't apply. So if you had Biggs X-Wing in here, they wouldn't have stunned. IG2000 wouldn't have stunned your Hans Millennium Falcon. Anyway, heal up, no problem. Get the breach off, most importantly. And now, perfect. So now you have to hope for some assists to get rid of the taunt. Luckily it happens. Again, it's going to be 3 turns before he can, or 2 turns I think, before he can go again. So you go after IG2000. This is some RNG here. Now, normally this would be Slave 1 in most situations. Occasionally you're going to have Xanadu Blood come in, but this one with a Scimitar is almost arena-like, but I guess some people do place it in GAC as well. So here you have a choice. You can either bring in Cassian and definitely kill the IG2000, or you can bring in a tank and hopefully get rid of the taunting and stall out a little bit. The stall out process, given that you're still in stealth with Biston, you have wiggle available here somewhat soon. Razor Crest is going to be a while to go. All of the turn meter here is pretty low compared to Biston, Hans Millennium Falcon, which should be faster than any of these other characters. We don't know the turn meter of the enemy capital ship. We could have seen probably a little bit earlier. So they just brought in a reinforcement, so it's pretty low. I just skipped back 5 seconds. So in this case, I would also bring in Biggs, unless you were expecting to do a 2-shot. If that was your plan to do a 2-shot, then you bring in Cassian and kill Xanadu Blood, and you might be able to win the battle too. In this case, Biggs inflicts target lock, which is handy, because you'll almost certainly have Hans Millennium Falcon assist, but again, this is some RNG, you're not guaranteed. So here you go, sort of stalling it out. Do the wiggle, you have 2 other ships, so you're guaranteed that he'll take another turn. There goes the taunt. Because there's no breach and no bonus damage, Xanadu Blood gives bonus damage when any target is inflicted with breach. So with the IG2000, this is the reason why it works with the Rebels, because you don't have the bonus damage from breach. Here, go after 2000. Okay, some bad luck with assists. Good luck with assists. And now the battle is looking pretty good. I'm not sure of the value of taking out Scimitar. Don't think he's a really important target. This is sort of annoying. Okay, good. Took off the other 3 buffs. So here it makes sense to go after Houndstooth. It would have been nice to have the breach stay on, so you wouldn't have to target Slave 1, but Slave 1 is very nice assists. Try and take out Slave 1. Houndstooth just used his taunt, so no worries there. So in this case, I actually would have brought in Phantom so I could get my second reinforcement, because the mass assist doesn't do much for you here, unless you're trying to take out Houndstooth, in which case you should have targeted Houndstooth to get the defense down. Okay, that worked pretty well. Could have done it better with targeting Houndstooth when he came in, when Cassian came in, but now it's pretty much guaranteed to be a win. I think there's still 4 target locks away, 3 target locks away from the ultimate. I would have used just a basic there to work down the stacks, but whatever. Here you could either stealth Biston or use the target lock to try and get an assist. Yeah, stealthing Biston would have been a waste. Okay, now here's where it starts to get dangerous because the bonus damage. So here I would get rid of the, yeah, exactly. Perfect, nicely done. Using stealth, and it should be the end right here. So played very well. A couple of things I probably would have done differently. I would have brought in Biggs at the beginning instead of Rebel Y-Wing. It was a bit dangerous when IG2000 went after Hans Millennium Falcon. Nonetheless, overall, played very well. Shows how this counter can definitely work. The most important thing, though, this is a very highly relic Rebel fleet, so don't think that you can go in with lower relics and make this work. And the banners for this was 65, so could have been a bit more banners. I don't think all of the reinforcements were needed that he brought in, but still, great fight. Keep an eye out for those Executor matchups that don't have the traditional 3 in the starting, and you can use a counter like this. Hope it helped. Cheers.